I'm here now at the western end of Frenchman's track. It's not much to show you here. There's this sign about booking your camping. There's another sign up in the tree there about factory built homes. Wasn't too difficult to find. I left from Bramwell Roadhouse not too long ago. It's 59, 60 k's to the turn off here. With the map and GPS, it's pretty easy to find. I don't know a whole lot about this track. One thing I do know is the difficulty is very weather dependent. There's two major creek crossings. Apparently they have steep entries and exits. Easier heading from west to east, I believe, which is what I'm doing, so that's good. Not so good is the fact that I've been up the Cape for over a week now and it has rained every single day. I'm not really on the best tyres here for any wet weather off-roading. This morning I was driving through rain most of the way from Bramwell to here. It's just stopped for a few minutes and it was a bit heavy in places. So not sure if that will have too much of an effect on the river crossings I have to do on this track, but I will head down and have a look. Just come to my first obstacle on the Frenchman's. Bit of evidence of the rain we've had over the past week. Bit of water sitting on the track. I just walked through it and it is very, very slippery, but it's shallow and there's a hard base under a little bit of sludge, so pretty confident I'll drive through it fine. If there's anywhere I'm going to regret coming up to the Cape on the bald highway tires that I'm on, it'll be something like this, because something that should be really simple could be really difficult on my tires. There are a few options here, but I'm just going through the main one. The main one has a nice hard base. You can see the other ones people have bogged down into them. That's because they go off the main track and they just go into the bush, so they just don't have that hard base. It's built up over time. We have a fairly steep, somewhat lumpy descent down into the Wenlock River. I could see how it would be an issue in the wet. Surprisingly, it's completely dry. It's like it hasn't even rained here. It's just starting to drizzle now. 5 minutes ago it was raining and I've just driven out of it. It would take a little bit of rain to make this a problem though. The drizzle I've had today probably wouldn't do it. If you come the other direction, it would be an issue. Coming down when it's wet, you just want to take it really slow. First low, nice and slow. We're just gonna crawl down this one. That was by far one of the worst, if not the worst descent I've ever done. I completely misjudged my entry into that. I was trying to stick to the left to avoid doing panel damage on the right hand side where I can see other people have, and I've managed to drive up onto the edge of the bank and tip the whole car up a bit and then drop down into the ruts. Thankfully dropped in nicely and the suspension just soaked up the bounce. I actually barely felt it considering what I did. After that little hiccup at the start, it was a straightforward, easy descent, bit steep, nice and slow. I just can't believe I stuffed that up so bad at the start. That was pretty funny actually. Anyway, I'm down here at the Wenlock River. There's not a whole heap of water in it. I can see that obviously the water can be a lot higher. The river's quite wide here. The crossing itself, it's a bit sandy, but I walked through it, feels firm enough, so I'm happy to give it a go. The water's not too deep. You wouldn't want to get stuck in the sand in the middle and sit there in that water. My car would probably fill with water. There's stuff to winch off if I get really stuck. I'm not going to. I'm glad that the water level is where it is. If it was any higher, I'd still probably do it up until a point. but I'm pretty happy with where it is right now. Beautiful spot down here. I kind of wish I had a little more time yesterday afternoon. If I had another hour or two up my sleeve, I would have pushed on from where I stayed last night and come here and camped on this river. It would have been really nice. Next time, I'll make sure I've got time to get into the track and come camp down by the river here. It's a really nice spot. Bit sandy on the first part of this climb out of the creek. Not too soft though. One thing I should probably mention here is I'm actually running my tyres quite hard. I think they're on 38 psi. I'd usually drop them down for a track like this. The reason I'm not doing that is because they're quite worn. They're definitely at the end of their life. One of them has some sidewall damage, which is a little bit suspect. And I think if I let them down and let them really flex like what you kind of want on a track like this, it's just going to be putting heaps of stress on that sidewall of that problem tyre. And so far I just haven't needed to let them down. Like, it's been fine in the soft sand. I'm driving through a fairly sandy section of the track right now. Like I said before, my tyres pumped up to 38 psi and I'm in two-wheel drive. No issues so far. No issues. I've got a couple of little puddles to drive through here, and then according to the map, should be creek crossing shortly after. So I've come to this beautiful little creek here. It's so fresh and clear. I think I'm actually going to fill my water up while I'm here. There's two options for exiting this creek. They both look a bit tricky. I'll show you. We have option one to the left. Got a lot more water to drive through. It's a little deeper, but it's not too deep. Very slippery looking exit, but not too steep. I think you could climb up that pretty easily even with it being slippery. My issue is, if you can see on the camera there, it's coming around a corner, and just look at, people have just been bashing their cars into the sides of this. You don't have any choice on picking a line here. You're just going to be riding through the ruts. So I don't like the look of that one. The other option over here, you can still see people have been bashing their panels into the side. I can see up here that people have been using the tree to winch themselves out, so that's an option if I need it. That is just so slippery, that is not happening. I'm an idiot. I tried to go through that part I was just showing over there. That was slippery as hell. Like, maybe if I went through it as soon as I got here, I would have been okay, but it rained for 5-10 minutes while I was here, while I was setting up the camera and kind of scouting my way through, and it's so slippery. I couldn't even get to the part that I thought was going to be a problem. I got stuck, like, just trying to exit the water. Anyway, I walked back a little bit up the track, 30 meters, and found this little side route. Goes around here. Someone's taken the initiative and put a pipe in for the water to flow through, so it completely removes the problem of climbing on that slippery clay. So I'm just going to reverse back and come around this, I guess it's a chicken track. But yeah, I'm not sitting in there doing panel damage. That was so narrow, and I could just see how much damage everyone else has done to their vehicles. I'm just not doing that. I'm not driving very smart today. Come through this creek here. It's pretty small, straightforward, driven straight through it, and then I've come up to the exit here, and as I've come up to it, I've kind of realized the exit is like a bit too steep at the top. I'm not going to be able to get over that. And instead of like trying to stop, I've just put the boot down a bit and thought I might be able to pop up over. No, I've stopped. I've just checked underneath and it looks like I've missed all the important bits. The sliders took all the weight then, so that's lucky. I'm still a bit stuck though. Gonna have one more quick go and just reversing back down. That creek crossing should have been a non-event. It would have been, but I was just driving fast, not smart. I just plowed into that one without thinking about what I was doing. Luckily, no damage, and managed to get out of it pretty easily. I've just come to another little creek crossing that is marked on the map. We've got this deep section here. I walk through there. It's a bit soft, but it's totally drivable. But there's also the shallow section here, and why drive through the deep water when there's a much easier, firmer, shallower part right next to it? So I'm going to go around the shallow way, make this a quick and easy crossing. Just walking down this very lumpy hill. I believe at the bottom of this hill we have the biggest obstacle that the Frenchman has to offer, which is the Pasco River crossing. I'm a little bit nervous about what I'm going to find down here because today I haven't seen anyone on this track. I've been all on my own all day, and I've been really taking my time stopping to film this and just not in a hurry at all generally. I would have thought that if there was anyone else on this track today, or certainly anyone else who started after me, they would have caught up to me with how slow I've been travelling. I haven't seen anyone come towards me, no one's caught up to me. And this river crossing is supposed to be a bit of a doozy. I'll tell you, the hill climb down into it sure is. So if I get myself stuck in here, I'm going to be in a bit of trouble. I don't know when the next person's going to come through this track. I don't know how often people travel this track. So I'm going to be all on my own here to figure this out. If the crossing is doable, get myself through it. Oh, it looks like there's a dead car here. That's a great sign. Just what I want to see, a dead Navara. Oh God. Must have drowned in here, eh? Yeah, right. Even just getting to the river is going to be a challenge in itself. This hill climb down here. Just picking your line to come down there. It's definitely doable, but you really got to pick your line and stick to it. And then the river crossing, it's deep and it's flowing. It's flowing quite hard for how deep it is. I don't know what the crocodile situation is in the Pasco River, but I'm gonna have to walk in there to scout out a line through the crossing. I dare say there's crocs in here. And they could be 10 meters either side of this crossing and I wouldn't be able to see them. All right, I'm gonna have to walk through to see that this is even drivable. See how deep it really is. That is really deep for how much flow there is. I've got a bit of a game plan. I'm gonna just sealing up my airbox now. Creek crossing is doable. I'm confident I can do it. But still, just to be sure, obviously the airbox is gonna be sealed up because it's gonna be deep. It's gonna be really deep. The current is the main thing that worries me. I'm gonna get the winch ready. There's a couple of trees on the other side. I can see people have winched off before, so it's good that they're there. I don't think I need the winch, but last thing I want to have to do is be stuck in the water and try to get the winch rope out and get the cable plugged in and everything. I've been on this track for over 6 hours now, and I can't see any evidence that anyone else has even been here recently. I haven't seen any cars. I can see some bike tire tracks around. Apart from that, I don't know how often people come down this track, so if shit goes pear-shaped, I don't know how long I'll be here for. I did Nolan's Brook just 2 days ago, so I should be feeling confident with the water crossings, but Nolan's Brook was different, where I had, there would have been at least 20-30 spectators there, recovery vehicles ready to go. I got to watch another Navara do it right in front of me, so I seen that it was doable. There's no people here. There's one car, this is another Navara, and it's been abandoned because obviously it's drowned in the crossing. Doesn't look like it's been there too long, so it's not like it drowned because they tried to come through in the wet season or anything. It's kind of recent. There's nothing simple about this. The line to get over there It's so technical. It's gonna be, gotta hug it left, first half, but not too far left. Now I've got to straighten up and head straight for the exit. So unsteady, it's a nice rocky bottom, so I should be able to just drive through it. Oh, I'm nervous. Holy shit. Woo! Oh, that made me nervous. I drove through so easy. That drove through so easy. So happy with that. Doesn't look like I've got any water in the car either. Bloody nearly coming in the window though. That Pasco River crossing was gnarly. That made me nervous. It's doable, obviously, I did it, but man, I think a lot of it had to do with my lack of experience when it comes to water crossings, especially deep ones, flowing ones, like that was both. I've been gaining experience. I did the whole telly track just a few days ago, including Nolan's Brook and that. So I am getting the hang of it. I'm learning what the car's capable of. Haven't drowned it yet. That one's gnarly. You really got to pick your line. It's deep, it's flowing water. It's a fair little distance. The one thing it has going for it, it is quite rocky. Like the bottom is firm, it's hard. You got traction. You just got to pick your way through those boulders. But it's not like you're doing a sandy crossing where you could break traction and sink and that's it, you know. You almost could do that crossing in a standard full drive if you got the experience with water crossings. Obviously you're going to need to snorkel. It's deep enough for that. But I've got a 2-inch lift and slightly bigger wheels on my car. Probably not completely necessary. I did touch my bar work on the ground a couple of times in the crossing, touched it a couple of times on the way up out, and I think I touched it on the way down in. It's really lumpy and rocky climbing in and out, and the water crossing itself. So if you don't have bar work, you don't have a lift kit, like you just have to pick your line absolutely perfect, really walk it all multiple times beforehand, know exactly where you're going. Anyway, I'm glad that's behind me. I'm glad I get to camp up on this side of the river rather than be stuck on the other side thinking about doing that crossing all night. It's been a good day. I'm going to finish it there. I'll finish the truck off tomorrow. Alright, second day on the Frenchman's. Looking at the map, it looks like I got about 10 kilometers to go. Shouldn't take too long. Look at this, bitumen. And just like that, Frenchman's track is complete. Little checkbox there. I'm glad I did that, that was a lot of fun. Quick overview. Compared to the old Telegraph track, which I did a few days before this, I think the Frenchman's track was a fair bit easier. The old Telegraph track has a lot more water crossings, and I'd say that Nolan's Brook was probably a bit gnarlier than Pasco River there. As far as doing this track, like I'm here at the start of September 2021 and there was plenty of water laying around on the track. Any problem spots where there was like bog holes and just generally water laying on the track, people have just gone in the bush around them. There's heaps of rutted out sections and it's a bit rocky, so you obviously need a high clearance four-wheel drive. I got a 2-inch lift in my car, probably not necessary if you're just driving a bit more careful than I was. Having the rock sliders on the car and the bull bar obviously helped a bit. I did touch the rock sliders on the ground. Pasco River crossing was the only thing that really had me worried. It was deep, it was flowing, possibly crocs in there, I'm not sure. I would say just take your time there, don't rush into it. Make sure you really pick your line, have your recovery gear ready to go in case you need it. If you're traveling with another person, another vehicle, that'd be great. I would have felt a lot more confident doing it if I wasn't the only one there. It did rain a bit while I was on the track. It didn't cause too much of an issue. Obviously with those bigger river crossings, if it rained a lot, enough to raise those rivers, it could easily become impassable, this track. But you know, you can go in, look at the river. If it's not crossable, just head back. I camped out on the track overnight, so I kind of split the drive over 2 days. That wouldn't really have been necessary. If I left earlier yesterday morning, I would have had plenty of time to do it. Also, stopping and filming everything slowed me down a lot. I did spend a fair bit of time at the Pasco River getting set up and making sure I was going to be confident heading into the water. But if you're just trying to get from one end of the track to the other as quickly as possible, it's probably only a half a day drive really, 4 or 5 hours. I'd recommend giving yourself the whole day to do it so that you can take your time, enjoy it. And there's a few camp spots in there, so if you want to split it over 2 days, then great. That's what I did, and I'm really glad I did. That was made it much more enjoyable rather than rushing out last night. Anyway, really glad I did that. Not sure what track I'm going to head to next. Old Telegraph track, tick that off. Frenchman's track while I was up here, tick that off. Maybe the Krebs track next. I think I have to do some vehicle maintenance before then, but it's been through a lot in the past few days.